Part 7. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 61. Rudolph worked very hard to eliminate several high priests before returning to the police station again. Did I see it wrong? Rudolph didn't believe his eyes. Sergeant, are you studying? How does the word study have anything to do with you? Sheriff, what is that in your hand? Shouldn't there be oysters on the sheriff's desk? How could something other than a book appear? And this is a huge book, thicker than a fist. The page of the book was opened, and there were densely packed parameter charts and formulas inside. Rudolph glanced at it and couldn't understand it at all. Are you writing a paper? Sheriff Claude had a sad look on his face. He had just written a topic, research on cold forging technology of low-carbon steel under the dominance of alchemical power. There were crumpled papers scattered around, and it was obvious that the paper was in trouble. Why, Rudolph, do you understand papers too? Rudolph shook his head. I know every word you wrote, but these words should not be connected together. They exceed the boundaries of my cognition and hit the blind spot of my knowledge. Sheriff Claude sighed. He wanted to go further. If he wanted to be promoted, he had to go to the laboratory of a level 3 alchemist for further training. Only those alchemists' laboratories had enough alchemical iron for him to he was familiar with the new material. There are thresholds for further study. If you want to knock on the door of the alchemy laboratory, you must first have several published papers, and you must prove to the alchemists that their newly recruited researchers have certain research capabilities. He can still try if he is asked to write a few papers on female psychology. How does he know about this damn cold forging? I pieced it together and got some ideas, hoping not to be torn into pieces by Actifabro Alchemy and sent back. Forget it, don't talk about these troublesome things. Sheriff Claude pushed the reference books and papers aside, and he felt much better. He asked, is there any clue about the insect plague? Rudolph handed the investigation report to the police chief, who quickly read through it. In other words, we discovered it too late. It's already the end of May. Even if we launch a large-scale operation to eliminate the insect high priests, won't we be able to change the outcome of this year's grain harvest? That's pretty much what it means. Seeing the report submitted by Rudolph, Sheriff Claude was also helpless. Then let's continue the work of cleaning up the insect nest priests, and at least give the farmers an attitude. Fortunately, the level 1 high priest's attack power is not strong, so you should be able to deal with it. Sheriff Claude had a headache. According to the reported insect infestation, even if Rudolph was exhausted to death, it would be impossible to clear out all the insect high priests within a few months. Bullets, kerosene. Rudolph simply stated his request briefly. Sheriff Claude readily agreed to these requests. I'll make you some more bullets, give you the kerosene, and give you the bonus. I've been a little busy lately, so I haven't gone out. As you can see, my affairs are much more difficult to deal with than the insect's high priest. Rudolph nodded. Since a poor harvest was a foregone conclusion, it would be of little use for the sheriff to take action now. He has a hard life. He has to find a way to collect more relics, find an opportunity to make them into witchcraft, and slowly sell them to the black gold exchange. You can't sell too much at once, otherwise you will be targeted. After Rudolph left the door of the police station, Ichabod and Kevin stood by the parapet on the rooftop of the police station, watching Rudolph go away. Kevin was a little confused. Ichabod, why don't we go directly to Sheriff Claude? Don't alert the enemy. How can this be considered as alerting the enemy? This is a wizard. Do you need to hesitate? I suspect that Rudolph is a wizard. That's the problem. It's just your suspicion. Without evidence, of course you can't alarm them. Kevin was in disbelief. Them? Doesn't Sheriff Claude also have an affair with the wizard Rudolph? Ichabod explained patiently. If you have a conflict with a person, don't expect his father or son, or his friends to be on your side. Even if you are just and right, you will only suffer the consequences. They're targeting. Sheriff Claude and Rudolph have a good relationship, which is something the entire police department knows. We must get very sufficient evidence and put the evidence on Sheriff Crowder's desk to be effective and to make Sheriff Crowder have nothing to say. Kevin, do your divination results prove anything? Kevin shook his head. He used the corpse of the high priest to do a divination, but what confused him was that he couldn't get any results from the divination. The results of divination cannot point to a certain person or a certain direction. Kevin said seriously, this is what makes me worried and anxious. There are apostles above level 3, or very powerful witchcraft, blocking the fate. Things are more serious than I imagined. Ichabod said. Kevin, you are always impulsive and always rely on your intuition. This is a common problem between your words and spirits. But you must be careful this time. There is a wizard in the police station. If there is no conclusive evidence, Sheriff Claude will send you to jail for the sake of his reputation. Let's look for it again. I failed to track down the Black Queen last time. I thought about it. Sometimes, your divination ability will be targeted and it may not work. We need to be like a patrolman, slowly looking for evidence and working through a closed chain of evidence. This is a good supplementary method. Your divination ability also plays a big role in finding evidence. The two witch hunters watched Rudolph go away, but every move they made was clearly seen by a sparrow. This is Rudolph's home court. Rudolph will look at his spiritual pet pocket watch whenever no one is around. He is a wizard and therefore very vigilant. Rudolph in the distance closed the spiritual pet crystal. He did not look back, but he was very confused. What were the two witch hunters doing on the rooftop? Their eyes seemed to be looking at themselves. The great botanist and bull terrier imitator once said that when you doubt whether a melon is ripe, the melon is no longer ripe in your heart. Once suspicion arises, the crime is immediately established. When Rudolph begins to suspect two witch hunters, he needs to be really careful. There is no groundless suspicion. You must allocate some energy and pay attention to the next moves of these two people. Soon, the full moon of June is coming. The full moon means the monthly full moon worship in Lemang town, and the monthly festival is coming. The people in the town were waiting in the square. When they saw Butcher the butcher and the dog getting on the altar again, they burst into boos. It's a werewolf again. Can you change it? For 5 or 6 months in a row, they are all werewolves. The first time you watch a vicious dog eating a werewolf, it can stimulate everyone's nerves, but after such stimulation happens more often, it gradually becomes less interesting. Butcher, nearly 2 meters tall, faced the crowd's boos and helplessly spread his big hands. He was originally here to do voluntary labor. It was tiring to chop up a werewolf in one night, and now he had to be booed. He took out a lighter from his arms and took out the hidden torch from the hem of the butcher's apron. At this moment, the onlookers didn't know what Butcher was going to do. Butcher lit the torch, and the flames lit up the stage. Then, he waved the torch and pointed it suddenly to the other end of the altar. At this time, the people on the other side of the altar also lit torches, lighting up the place. It turned out that at the other end of the altar, some people were piling firewood, and others were carrying the pillars of the torture rack. Burning. Oh! It's burning, the audience was finally satisfied. It seems that there are 2 sacrifices this month. Butcher was also very satisfied with his performance. Not long after, people from the police station escorted 2 sacrifices. One is a werewolf with no originality, and the other is a man with his upper body exposed and a huge black beetle drawn on his chest. People nearby saw the man's arms, which were tightly pressed together, and there were thick, unknown deep holes, and they took 2 steps back in fright. Rudolph, as captain, waved to those around him. Everyone in the town likes Rudolph very much. They all know that Sheriff Claude is a very lazy person. The reason why there are constant sacrifices in the town is because of the model worker Rudolph. And Rudolph paid for whatever he consumed, whether it was going to a tavern, shopping, or going to the baths. Under his leadership, the trainee patrol officers of the police station also behaved in this way. This made the people in the town think that Rudolph was simply the best patrol captain. In the cheers of the town residents, the werewolf was placed on Butcher's huge chopping board. The man with the black beetle was taken to the stake. At this time, the Red Priest came out and presided over the full moon sacrifice in June. From the mouth of the Red Priest Mr. Pulley, the residents of the town learned that the man who was about to be burned at the stake was one of the murderers of the recent insect plague. Apostle of heresy. The priest of the evil god's insect nest. At this moment, the residents were extremely excited. The price of bread has been rising for a long time. It is said that it is due to food shortages. The autumn grain harvest may be poor, so the supply has become less. It turned out that someone deliberately kept aphids. It was also the first time that the residents of the town learned that there was an evil god called the Insect's Nest, which specialized in raising various pests. The Red Priest Mr. Pulley glanced at Rudolph and said to the people in the square, "Our patrol captain, Rudolph, came up with a brilliant idea after the wizard was burned at the stake last November. After I learned about the idea, I felt it made perfect sense. Hanging upside down is more suitable for burning at the stake. Let's hang him upside down and admire his kicking feet. Let's hang him upside down and let him burn even more thoroughly. From today on, the execution at the stake in Lehman Town will be carried out by hanging upside down." The square suddenly erupted into violent cheers. This month's executions at the stake had new tricks. Rudolph looked around awkwardly to see when the Red Priest had read the confirmation sheet he wrote on the results of the burning. Amid the cheers of the people, the priest of the evil god's hive was hung upside down and tied to the stake. This time, his head will be fully cooked. Rudolph didn't want his identity as a wizard to be exposed, and he didn't want his head to be burned to a crisp. Rudolph couldn't bear to continue looking, as if he was the one who was burning. He turned to look at Yvonne's condition and found that she was in good condition. As she became more accustomed to her werewolf powers, her spells of sanity became shorter and shorter. Now she only loses her mind for an hour in the second half of every full moon night. The dogs began to growl, a fire lit up at the stake, and Rudolph waited for the full moon to murmur. "The blood is so sweet." Rudolph heard this mumbling every month. He searched for several months but couldn't find who this apostle was. "Break out of the cocoon, my little cuties." This sentence also appeared frequently, and no one knew who was speaking. Judging from this mumbling, Rudolph suspected that there had always been a high priest in Lehman Town, and he had been planning something. At this moment, a new mumbling made Rudolph's pupils suddenly dilate. "Rudolph, wizard." Cold sweat instantly soaked Rudolph's head. He looked around, looking for the source of the mumbling. However, what made him helpless was that he was surrounded by cheering residents and a carnival crowd. He didn't know who was saying he was a wizard. Was he exposed? Where was he exposed? When was he exposed? At this moment, Rudolph thought a lot. The busy but comfortable atmosphere of the police station, the delicious beer in the tavern, the warm spring water in the bathhouse, the residents who greeted him on the road. He looked at the stake, where the level 1 high priest was festering and charred. He didn't want to see such a day for himself, and he didn't want the people in the town and the police station to watch him burn to death with relish. If he didn't have the full moon whisper, he wouldn't even know that he was being investigated. If his wizard identity was exposed, he felt that no one would pity him except Yvonne. "What's wrong, Captain?" Yvonne saw Rudolph's pale face and felt a little strange. "It's okay, Yvonne, let's go to the old place later to help you spend the full moon night." After the sacrifice, when leaving the square, Rudolph met Ichabod and Kevin, who also left here. Kevin smiled. Patrolman Rudolph, your suggestion is really good. It's a genius idea. The burning at the stake has been around for thousands of years, and no one has ever thought of hanging heretics upside down to execute them. It's a really good idea. Kevin stared at Rudolph's head and felt that Rudolph was really brave. Wasn't he afraid that he would be burned upside down? Rudolph just smiled and said, "There's no way. There have been many disasters in Lehmantown recently. I'll do something new to make everyone happy." "Captain Rudolph, can you get off work?" "No, I have to bury 2 sacrifices first. In the second half of the night, I have to patrol the periphery of the town. It's not peaceful recently. There are either werewolves or evil gods around." Kevin heard that Rudolph was so busy, and sighed, "You are very hard-working. I think Sheriff Claude should give you his position." "I think so too. I hope you can say it in front of the sheriff. By the way, Kevin, you have been in Lehmantown for almost a year. It's been a month. Have you found the cause of the werewolf riot?" Kevin shook his head. "Unfortunately, no. All the werewolves we captured, whether they were level 1 or level 2, said that they came to Lehmantown under the leadership of the Alpha Wolf. We can't be sure what level the biggest Alpha Wolf is. Alas, the judiciary has continuously raised the response level of the werewolf riot. In the 5 or 6 towns around Fabreau City, there are witch hunters investigating werewolves. I think Ichabod and I can't leave for the time being." Rudolph heard a bad news. It seems that these 2 people are not going to leave for the time being. After a few more jokes, the few people went their separate ways. 2 in 1. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 62. Chapter 62 Level 1 Magical Weapon, Endless Bullet Nest. Ichabod looked at Rudolph's receding back and whispered to Kevin, "Have you found the divination item?" "No, the people in the Red Church said that Rudolph never did bloodletting treatment." "What about other clues?" "No, Rudolph did not leave anything at the scene where the high priests were killed. He was very cautious. In addition to the necessary relics of the high priests, he did not take anything more." "Is there a possibility that other wizards will appear?" "No, there is no one else at the scene except Rudolph and his partner Ivan." "Could Ivan be a wizard?" "I believe in my intuition. My intuition tells me that Rudolph is the one with the problem." Ichabod did not give up and said, "Wait until tonight and see the status of the 2 sacrifices. If Rudolph is a wizard, I don't believe he will be indifferent to the relics that are within his reach. In fact, except for the wizard Salem, Rudolph has never touched the relics of the sacrifices." After Rudolph and Ivan buried the offerings, they went to the suburbs to help Ivan spend the full moon night. After a long time, Ichabod and Kevin came to the cemetery. They walked in the cemetery and found 2 new graves. After digging up the new graves, Kevin carefully checked the 2 offerings. The wolf saliva is still there, the target didn't move the wolf saliva. The insect nest is also there, and the target didn't move the insect nest. Kevin stood up and asked in confusion, "It shouldn't be, did he find something?" Ichabod is good at fighting, and he couldn't answer Kevin's questions. After getting no results, the 2 left the cemetery. After a while, the gravekeeper Old Gray came to the place where Ichabod and Kevin had just been. "These outsiders are really uncultured. It's fine to dig it up, but they buried it so carelessly." Old Gray looked at the pile of soil that had obviously been turned over, hesitated a little, and did nothing. "Leaving a flaw, maybe it can be seen by someone, maybe it can remind someone." On a tree next to the cemetery, there stood an owl, which saw everything that happened here clearly. In the following time, Rudolph was very, very careful. Half a month later, time finally came to July, the month of Cancer. This time, Rudolph did not make magic tools in the police station. While patrolling the periphery, he and Ivan came to the suburbs. After searching a long distance with the pet crystal and making sure that no one was following around, Rudolph found an open space without trees. "Are you afraid?" Ivan asked in confusion. "What are you afraid of?" "I'm a wizard." Ivan felt Rudolph's uneasiness, and she took the initiative to hug Rudolph for the first time. "Don't be afraid." After a short hug, Ivan shyly stepped back half a step. Then she stared into Rudolph's eyes and said, "I'm afraid of wizards, but I'm not afraid of you." "Thank you, Ivan." Rudolph was actually very afraid of loneliness. He could just walk away and be a wizard without burdens, do whatever he wanted, and collect whatever relics he liked. Being an arrogant villain, laughing like a villain every day, that would be very free, but very lonely. Rudolph likes the current Lehman town, he likes the police station, and he likes the shops in Lehman town. After crossing over, he has lost everything in his previous life. If he leaves Lehman town, it's not impossible, but he will lose it again, everything he has after crossing over. Humans are social animals, they need to communicate with others, and they can't easily say that they let go of everything. Rudolph took out the starstone. He got 3 starstones from Xuanhuan. He used one when making the pet crystal, and now he has 2. He also bought a few starstones from the Black Gold Institute, so there is no shortage of starstones for the time being. After drawing the great star triangle on the ground, Rudolph began to make the magic weapon. He came to the left circle outside the great star triangle and removed the cylinder of his revolver. This is an ordinary 6-round cylinder, and Rudolph placed the cylinder inside the circle. In the right circle, he placed the remains of the level 1 insect nest, in the shape of a honeycomb. Rudolph looked up and looked at the star field of Cancer. Cancer is composed of 6 bright stars, and looks like a crab. However, the most striking feature of Cancer is that there is a spectacular star cluster in the abdomen of Cancer, a dense cluster composed of countless stars. This star cluster is called the ghost star cluster, or the beehive star cluster. This makes Cancer look like a giant crab, with its claws catching stars one by one and swallowing them into its belly, forming the ghost star cluster. The witch language needed in the endless bullet nest is the Cancer witch language, containment. Rudolph returned to the center of the great triangle of stars and began to draw in the star power in the direction of Cancer. It seemed that because of the star map, Rudolph could easily establish a connection with Cancer. The star power of Cancer was infused into Rudolph's body, and then entered the great triangle of stars from Rudolph's body. On the great triangle of stars, the powder of starstone was glittering at this moment. The witch language of Cancer, containment, played a role at this moment. The starstone powder wrapped the level 1 insect nest and the revolver cylinder and gathered at the top of the great triangle of stars. The level 1 insect nest is the organ of the insect nest priest to create insects. From the insect nest, there is an endless stream of insects crawling out, as if the insect nest is a bottomless pit. The level 1 insect nest and the revolver cylinder slowly combined under the action of star power. The insect nest turned into a thin film, attached to the inner wall of the metal cylinder. Soon, the starstone powder began to drill into the cylinder. The revolver cylinder with an insect nest attached to the inner wall absorbed a steady stream of starstone powder, like a bottomless pit. After the ceremony, Rudolph made this magic weapon, the level 1 endless cylinder. Rudolph, level 1 Scorpio wizard. Mastered magic language. Scorpio magic language water phase venom, infection. Pisces magic language water phase entanglement. Cancer magic language water phase containment. Magic weapon. Level 3 magic weapon, zombie tooth, side effect, body stiffness, has been partially neutralized by the physical strength sharing contract. Level 1 magic weapon, pet crystal, the main material is level 3 wizard crystal. Level 1 magic weapon, endless revolver. Witchcraft. Level 1 poisoning. Level 1 bone erosion poison. Status. Level 1 Physical Sharing Contract, shared with Level 2 Werewolf. Rudolph picked up the endless cylinder and began to load bullets into it. Every time a bullet was loaded, one bullet would disappear, like a bottomless pit. Rudolph pressed 12 bullets into the 6-round cylinder, and pressed 2 bullets into each hole. However, the cylinder still looked empty. Rudolph closed the cylinder of the revolver and shot at the trees beside him. There was no need to change the bullets at all. Rudolph fired 12 bullets directly. This is the function of the endless cylinder, a witch weapon. How many bullets a revolver can fire at one time depends on how many bullets are loaded into it, and there is no need to change bullets. Rudolph opened the cylinder of the revolver and poured out 12 shells at once. It was a very practical witch weapon, and Rudolph was very satisfied. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 63. You just fired 12 bullets. Ivan came to Rudolph and looked at the dozen shells under Rudolph's feet in amazement. Wait, I'll make you one too, and I have some star stones. Rudolph took Ivan's shotgun and drew a star triangle again. He used another level 1 hive to make a shotgun that could be loaded with countless shotgun shells. Ivan was full of expectations. She hated changing bullets. Before changing bullets, the shotgun was very powerful, but changing bullets would delay the rhythm. In real battles, she even subconsciously relied only on the first 2 shotgun shells in the barrel, not counting the change of bullets, because there might not be a chance to change bullets. I'll have a revolver with unlimited bullets, and you'll have a shotgun with unlimited bullets. Let's become bigger and stronger and create more glory. But we don't have so many alchemical bullets. I have plenty of bullets. Rudolph took out a poisoned bullet. Although this poisoned bullet is not as good as the sheriff's alchemical bullet, it is also a bullet that can hurt the apostle. I'll find a way to get enough ordinary bullets, and I'll poison the bullets. When the time comes, we'll first give the enemy a few hundred rounds of bullets when we meet, and then go to collect his body. From now on, ordinary guns will be equipped with alchemical bullets and alchemical shotguns, and our endless guns will be equipped with poisoned bullets. Rudolph held the gun and felt much safer. What if someone found out that he was a wizard? At most, he and Ivan would go into the wilderness together, and no one could do anything to them. A level 1 wizard and a level 2 werewolf, even in the dangerous wilderness, they are not something that anyone can easily control. Rudolph inserted the endless revolver into the gun case on his waist. On the way back, Rudolph began to plan his own path as a wizard. Rudolph has mastered at least one of the 3 water signs, Scorpio, Pisces, and Cancer. He finally completed the training of a level 1 wizard and can consider how to become a level 2 wizard. Rudolph felt that a powerful wizard must have a very solid foundation. Each sign can master a lot of witchcraft, so that more witchcraft can be made and more witchcraft can be mastered. However, Rudolph's current priority is to be promoted to a level 2 wizard. When he becomes a level 2 wizard, his witchcraft, poisoning and bone-eroding poison will be much more powerful, and he can also make higher-level witchcraft. By then, the level 2 poisoned bullets, although not as good as Sheriff Claude's level 2 alchemical bullets, will be enough. What makes Rudolph feel urgent is that he must wait until next month to learn the next constellation witchcraft. Next month is August, the Leo month in the Wizard month. Leo is a special one among many constellations. Because the lion represents the leader and represents strength. When he masters the witch language of Leo, his ability will be qualitatively improved. On the way back to the police station, Rudolph didn't even go to the cemetery, even though he already knew that the 2 witch hunters had gone to turn over the bodies of the sacrifices. When he was not exposed, Rudolph only thought that the witch hunters were special patrolmen who were stronger than Rudolph. However, when he was targeted by the witch hunters, Rudolph felt a strong sense of oppression. Ichabod, a level 2 alchemist. Kevin, a level 2 word spirit. Both of them are witch hunters with good strength. And Rudolph needs to be promoted as soon as possible. After becoming a level 2 wizard, he can do it with ease in Lehmantown. The next day, Rudolph came to the restaurant as usual. He met Ichabod and Kevin in the restaurant, and the three of them finished the pitiful breakfast with laughter. Rudolph didn't go out all day. Rudolph left the police station at night. He put on his purple scorpion mask and went to find the casino owner Xuanhuan. "This is your identity chess piece." Rudolph took the black soldier N from Xuanhuan and returned it at this time. "If you didn't say it, I almost forgot." Xuanhuan's eyes flickered. "I heard that the Fabreau City Police Department and the Judgment Department cleaned up the black gold. Do you know about this?" Xuanhuan didn't know which transaction the purple scorpion masked man participated in, so he carefully inquired. "Oh, I was there at the time." "A small scene." "Just a small scene?" Xuanhuan felt that this wizard apprentice was much stronger than the wizard apprentice he remembered. "It's just a pity that a giant died too close to the people of the Judgment Department, otherwise I would have one more giant wizard weapon." Xuanhuan secretly took a breath of cold air. It was a war between the Judgment Department and the Black Gold. If he was there, he would definitely be dead. "By the way, I'm here to talk about business," Rudolph said. "I want bullets, shotgun shells, and revolver bullets." "Alchemical bullets." Xuanhuan doesn't have many alchemical bullets. Alchemists can sell bullets, but the price of alchemical bullets is not cheap. "Ordinary bullets." Xuanhuan was relieved when he heard that he wanted ordinary bullets. Ordinary bullets are mainly used against ordinary people and wolf servants, so the price is much cheaper. "How many do you want?" "How many do you have?" "In my warehouse. Wait a minute, I'll ask." Xuanhuan called a subordinate, who knew Xuanhuan's inventory. When Xuanhuan asked his subordinates, Rudolph took out 3 tubes of wolf poison potion. Wolfsbane potion is a good thing. As long as it is an external injury, Wolfsbane potion can quickly heal the wound. Xuanhuan stared at the Wolfsbane potion, which was a precious potion monopolized by druids. He didn't expect the wizard apprentice in front of him to take out 3 tubes at once. "I have some ordinary bullets, it seems that there are not many now." Xuanhuan waved his hand and asked his men to take the bullets. Soon, Xuanhuan's men brought 6 ammunition boxes. "Sir, this box is 1,200 rounds of bullets." "I have 3 boxes of revolvers and 3 boxes of shotgun bullets." Rudolph was evaluating the price of these bullets, and Xuanhuan spoke first. "This box of bullets is priced at 2 silver shields. I think 6 boxes of bullets can be exchanged for 1 tube of Wolfsbane potion." Rudolph nodded and thought the price was not bad. In fact, the price of 1 tube of Wolfsbane potion is about 10 silver shields, and it is mainly sold by druids. But the druids don't have many potions. Except for auctions, they usually don't exceed 12 silver shields. Rudolph took back 2 tubes of Wolfsbane potion, and then said, "Then come as you said, 1 tube of Wolfsbane potion for 6 boxes of bullets. At this price, I'll buy 6 boxes of bullets in a week." "No problem." Xuanhuan felt that he had made a profit. He exchanged ordinary bullets for apostle potions, which was a huge profit. "Xuanhuan, there is one thing I need you to do for my teacher." Xuanhuan was stunned and felt a little uneasy. "Go spread a message and say that the treasure house of Bloody Salem has appeared in the world." "The treasure house of Bloody Salem?" Rudolph nodded with a purple scorpion mask. Xuanhuan thought a lot at this moment. Could it be that Bloody Salem was going to attract some people to attack him, and then hunt for relics and make magic tools to restore his strength? High-end and arrogant wizards are so unreasonable. They always appear as prey. Let's say that in the treasure house of Bloody Salem, there are 2 level 3 magic weapons, 5 level 2 magic weapons, and more than a dozen level 1 magic weapons. These treasures are scattered in the wilderness and found by the werewolves. I understand. Kashino felt that he was close to the truth. It seemed that Bloody Salem's strength had recovered a considerable part, otherwise he would not deliberately attract other apostles. Kashino's men tied the 6 boxes of bullets together in 3 boxes, and Rudolph left here with 1 bundle in each hand. This, sir, is he so strong? Kashino's men were particularly amazed at the physique shown by Rudolph. Apostles have all kinds of strange abilities. What's so great about this? You haven't seen the strength of giants. Kashino carefully put away the wolf poison potion, which is a good thing that can save lives at critical moments. Quick, let's contact again, 10 boxes, we also need to keep some bullets. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 64. It was already late at night when Rudolph left the casino. After walking around the alley to make sure no one was following him, he came to an alley with 3 bullet boxes in each arm. Inside, Ivan had already set up the carriage and was waiting for Rudolph. Rudolph changed into the patrolman's clothes in the carriage, and the two drove the carriage toward the outside of the city. Don't ask anyone, just ask because you are obsessed with work, stay awake at night, and concentrate on patrolling, all the time. Rudolph carefully observed his surroundings on his spiritual pet pocket watch. There was no one around, and Ichabod and Kevin were not moving. This is similar to what Rudolph guessed. This pair of witch hunters relied more on Kevin's divination instead of looking for clues like patrolmen. How could a high-end Yanling raise his noble buttocks and lie on the ground looking for ruts? Rudolph and Ivan arrived at the outskirts, and after making sure no one was following them, they began to work. Rudolph made the poisoned bullets and Ivan loaded them. Rudolph can quench poison for 4 loaders, which is 24 rounds of bullets, or quench 18 rounds of shotguns in 1 minute. He chose to reload Ivan's shotgun first. Counting the rest time and the time to recover his star power, it took Rudolph 2 hours to quench the poison for 1 magazine, which is 1,200 rounds of bullets. By daybreak, Rudolph had loaded all 3 bullet boxes into Ivan's shotgun. Ivan still preferred the shotgun, she thought the revolver was a bit too delicate. Rudolph's own revolver had to wait for the next night to be quenched. The two of them casually worked on the job in the morning, slept in the dormitory in the afternoon, and loaded ammunition at night. They worked for another 2 days before loading all the 6 boxes of bullets they took from casino into the guns. Ivan found it amazing that the shotgun didn't get heavy even after loading so many shells. Rudolph's revolver now contains an exaggerated 3,600 rounds of quenched bullets. In the days that followed, Rudolph took bullets from Casino again. After a few days of busy work, his gun now contains 7,200 rounds of quenched bullets. When Rudolph came to the sheriff's office again, the sheriff was surprised to see that there were big bags under Rudolph's eyes, and of course there were thick dark circles under his eyes. The chief was often away from the police station, and as long as Rudolph could return the police ticket, he rarely took care of Rudolph. Rudolph, I heard that lately you and Ivan always go on patrol late at night. I go there every day and come back exhausted every morning. I know that your relationship with Ivan has been developing rapidly recently. You are both young people and it is your first time to experience the strange mystery. However, your inspection must be moderate and appropriate. I think Ivan is in good condition, but your condition is not good. Ivan doesn't need to temper the poison. Rudolph has to use up his star power several times every night, which is of course even more tiring. Chief, our inspection is not the same thing as the inspection you are talking about. The police chief smiled and said, I understand. You are young and always want to do something new. Chief, in your world, if a man and a woman go out late at night, they will definitely do something. What if? This can't be explained. Rudolph said, Chief, Are you deceiving yourself when you talk to me about moderation? Has the sales of Mrs. Jessica's charming perfume declined? Hiss, don't mention the charming perfume to me, it makes my back hurt. Rudolph glanced at the sheriff's papers again, and he was surprised to find that the sheriff's papers were all bound. Chief, is your paper bad? How come you wrote it in such a short time? Water? I don't know if this paper is watery or not, but it's so damn expensive. Bought it? What do you mean by buying it? How unpleasant it sounds. This is called asking someone to polish it. Do you understand what you mean by polishing it? I also know a little bit about polishing. Does this mean that, except for your name, everything was polished by others? I wrote the summary, I swear. Rudolph nodded. Indeed, you should read it carefully and write an abstract. At least you must know what this paper says, otherwise you will not reveal your secret when others ask. That's true. I'm going to memorize this paper in the next 2 days. Rudolph handed the police chief a police order. Sheriff, sign it. I went to the Cuckoo tribe and received a letter from them. The alliance between the Cuckoo tribe and the Bison tribe was attacked by werewolves. Oh, then you should be careful, the sheriff asked while signing. Have the two tribes formed an alliance? Didn't the Buffalo tribe say that they can fight against the werewolves alone? I don't know. Maybe the Bison tribe suffered a few losses and figured it out. Seeing the sheriff signing, Rudolph couldn't help but said, Chief, the witch hunters have been here for a long time, why have they achieved nothing? Sheriff Claude shook his head. Their mission is to investigate the cause of the werewolf riot, but the matter is progressing very slowly. All werewolves follow orders, and the werewolves themselves don't know why they gather on the outskirts of Fabreau City. Rudolph and Yvonne left the town of Lehman on horseback. Yvonne still preferred the wilderness, and seeing the endless hills and farms made her feel relaxed and happy. Rudolph spread out a dozen sparrows and started looking for Cooper. The matter of the Cuckoo tribe can be put aside for now. Rudolph decided to solve his own affairs first. The witch hunters have taken action, and he must speed up his preparations. Otherwise, if they really come to his door, he will have nothing. That would be bad. It is still easy to find Cooper from the air because Cooper's team is very large. A strange-looking circus, walking in the forest, is very conspicuous. As long as there is a general direction, it can be found quickly. Soon, Rudolph found Cooper, and Cooper even set up a camp for his circus in the forest. Rudolph entered the circus. Cooper wanted to ask Rudolph what he was going to do, but he saw Rudolph walking directly towards the level 2 werewolf. Cooper has always had a body of a level 2 werewolf, which was picked up by Cooper when Sir Jakes was fighting the werewolf. However, the level 2 werewolf retreated a long distance in an instant. Wait. This level 2 werewolf cannot be moved. This is my most important collection. Rudolph looked at Cooper in surprise. You have been promoted to a level 2 zombie. Yes. Then congratulations. How did you get promoted? Secret. Rudolph felt that there must be someone behind Cooper helping him, otherwise he would not have been promoted to a level 2 zombie in such a short time. Cooper was already a level 2 apostle, but he was still a little afraid of Rudolph. It was as if he was still the clown in the circus last year, and Rudolph was still the patrolman with a baton and a gun on his waist. Cooper couldn't help but look at Yvonne, who was also a level 2 werewolf, and was still so obedient in front of Rudolph. I'm going to give you some compensation, and then take away the relics of the level 2 werewolf. Hearing Rudolph's words, Cooper's zombie body, which should have been cold, even felt the long-lost heat. Rudolph thought for a moment and continued, in that case, forget it. I'm not a robber. It's embarrassing to rob you. Cooper immediately breathed a sigh of relief. The annoying patrolman was still reasonable. Cooper, you are more familiar with the surroundings. Help me find a level 2 werewolf. I need a level 2 relic now. It will be the Leo month in a few days. Rudolph thought it was time to add a level 2 magic weapon to himself. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 65. Hearing that Rudolph was looking for a level 2 werewolf, Cooper simply replied, "Okay, I'll find you a level 2 werewolf right now. Last time, a level 2 werewolf almost killed me, and then I was in a coma for a whole day. If I hadn't dreamed that someone had given me medicine, I would have really died. The feeling of being on the verge of death is really uncomfortable. It just so happens that I know where he is, I can take you there." I have to sigh at Cooper's luck. Someone just happened to deliver medicine when he was on the verge of death. For zombies, if they are on the verge of death but not dying, and have faced the god of death directly, they may be promoted to the level of zombies. Outside a valley, Rudolph, Yvonne, and Cooper gathered beside Rudolph's pet crystal, watching the situation in the valley. Cooper introduced. "In this valley, there is a level 2 werewolf tribe. There is one level 2 werewolf, 7 level 1 werewolves, and an unknown number of wolf servants. Each level 1 werewolf has about a dozen wolf servants. In other words, there are about 90 wolf servants, 7 level 1 werewolves, and 1 level 2 werewolf. Yes, some time ago, this werewolf tribe attacked the Druid Cuckoo tribe. If the Bison tribe had not come to support, the Cuckoo tribe would have become the second Druid tribe to be wiped out by werewolves. My 2 level 1 werewolf corpses were picked up at that time, but I didn't touch the Druid's corpse. You did a good job. It's best not to offend 2 forces in the wilderness at the same time." Rudolph thought about the strength comparison between the 2 sides, and he turned his head to look at Cooper again. Cooper's face was still painted in luminous oil paint, looking like a clown, and the muscles on his face seemed to be stiff. He was smiling all the time. If you look closely, you can see that it was a weird fake smile. "Cooper, can you relax a little? Don't keep smiling all the time. It's a bit scary to see your face at night." "I think it's good. If my body is stiffer and closer to a corpse, it proves that I am stronger." Rudolph shook his head and looked at Cooper's collection again. 1 level 2 werewolf, 3 level 1 werewolves. You have too few level 1 werewolves. "Well, I've been very busy recently, and the loss of level 1 werewolves is quite serious." "Oh? Will corpses die? How are they lost?" "Corpses won't die, but the remains of corpses will be destroyed. Once the remains are destroyed, I can't convert the power of zombies into werewolf power." After thinking, Rudolph said, "Cooper, are you interested in adding to your level 1 collection?" Yes, how?" "For example, like this." Rudolph rode on his horse directly, and then motioned for the 2 of them to follow. The pet crystal just now showed that a werewolf tribe had returned from hunting. These werewolves did not walk upright, but walked on all 4s like real wolves, which meant that their animality had far exceeded human nature. The level 1 werewolf, leading 14 wolf servants, slowly walked towards the valley. Each wolf servant had prey in his mouth, dragging it on the ground. Some prey were cattle and sheep, and herds of cattle and sheep were only available on farms. Some of the prey were human beings. Judging from their clothes, they were farmers. This werewolf tribe attacked a small farm, and it seemed that they had a good harvest. The leading level 1 werewolf turned his ears and suddenly stopped, and the whole pack stopped. His yellow pupils scanned the surroundings. It seemed that something was approaching. Soon, the werewolf heard what it was, the sound of horse hooves. Ordinary horses would be afraid when they saw a werewolf, even if they were around a werewolf. Rudolph and Yvonne's horses had encountered many dangers with them and had already undergone desensitization training. Therefore, when their horses saw the werewolves, although they were afraid, they could still move forward, but their speed slowed down. The expression of the level 1 werewolf did not change at all. There were 2 patrolmen rushing over from between several large trees. He was just used to living like a wolf, and he still remembered a lot of things. Would the patrolmen dare to come so close to the valley? Are the patrolmen so stupid now? Just rushing over like this? When they were still 30 meters away from the werewolf, Rudolph and Ivan both got off their horses. As soon as the two stood still, they saw that behind the level 1 werewolf, the wolf servants all loosened their mouths, put down their prey, and gathered behind the level 1 werewolf. The level 1 werewolf growled, and the wolf servants behind him bypassed the level 1 werewolf and rushed towards Rudolph and Ivan. At this time, Cooper, who was on guard in the direction of the valley in the distance, was also observing the situation of the battle. He was very confused. Ivan was a level 2 werewolf, why didn't she transform? Shouldn't Ivan transform directly and use the strength of a level 2 werewolf to quickly kill the level 1 werewolf? However, he only saw Ivan and Rudolph took out their guns. What's the use of taking out guns? Not only Cooper thought so, but even the level 1 werewolf thought so. Could it be that the alchemist came? When the wolf servants pounced on Rudolph and Ivan, the two of them fired. Rudolph fired 5 bullets quickly, hitting several wolf servants. These wolf servants lost their ability to move instantly. If it was daytime, you could see their wounds were purple, and the blood vessels around them were purple. The level 1 werewolf cursed the wolf servants. These useless wolf servants, when will he have some useful subordinates? At the same time, the level 1 werewolf began to charge up. He knew that the male patrolman would soon have to reload. He began to speed up and quickly approached the patrolman. The other female patrolman had already used up the 2 shotgun shells in her gun and forced the nearby wolf servants to retreat. Cooper knew that Ivan was about to transform. Rudolph fired the last bullet at the level 1 werewolf. Cooper became more and more confused. Why didn't these two people prepare for the backup? The level 1 werewolf was very excited at this time. He didn't expect it to be so simple. Where did this rookie patrolman come from? Not only did he not run, but he also didn't reload. The level 1 werewolf jumped into the air and pounced directly on Rudolph. Then, the werewolf saw that the male patrolman had been holding the gun. The 6 bullets in the revolver were all used up. What's the point of holding the gun? Cooper hurriedly asked the 2 level 1 werewolves to help Rudolph and Ivan. He didn't want his white gloves to be left here inexplicably. But the next moment, Cooper's werewolf stopped and continued to stay motionless. He saw Rudolph and Ivan's guns, and fired again. Rudolph's revolver was still spewing bullets. And Ivan's shotgun was the same, as if the entire barrel was a magazine, spitting out shotgun shells crazily. The werewolf who was still in the air was hit by bullets one after another. There were so many bullets that he couldn't count them. Not only did his whole body not fall forward, but it also flew backwards diagonally upwards. Cooper fell into doubt. What model were those 2 guns? After a while, the gunshots disappeared, and Rudolph motioned Cooper to come over. Look, you have one more in your collection, but there are a few more bullet holes on it. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 66. Cooper didn't look at his new collection. It didn't matter if there were more bullet holes. As long as the werewolf stood up again, it would be easy to recover. He first looked at the revolver that Rudolph put on his waist, and then looked at Ivan's shotgun, and fell into confusion. Won't the alchemist come to take care of it? The guns they made don't conform to the laws of physics. Cooper couldn't help asking, are all the guns in the police station so powerful now? Not all of them, we are the special ones. Rudolph opened his pocket watch and said, the werewolf came out with the whole family. Level 2 werewolf. Yes. Hearing this news, Cooper stopped thinking about Rudolph's gun, but quickly collected his collection. After Cooper dealt with the werewolf's body, he said, "I don't want the druid. It's easy for those druid tribes to target him with a druid. You don't want it, and I don't want it either. Let the druid stay here first." They quickly left here and retreated to a farther place. Even on horseback, they couldn't outrun the werewolves in the forest. Soon, the werewolves caught up. As before, the level 2 werewolves would drive the level 1 werewolves to consume the prey's physical strength. With the endless shells, Rudolph calmly shot to the left and right. The current poisoned bullets are very different from the previous ones. Because of the addition of the cancer witch language containment, Rudolph learned to poison a bullet multiple times. In this way, the power of the poisoned bullets was greatly enhanced. Therefore, one bullet can put the wolf servant into a state of poisoning and paralysis. The scorpion's toxin contains special proteins that can paralyze the central nervous system of the poisoned object. The poisoning technique derived from the Scorpio witch language venom has a similar to scorpion venom effect, which is also mainly paralysis and paralysis. Of course, a large amount can also be fatal. The wolf servant quickly loses its combat effectiveness, and even a wolf servant who is hit by several bullets will die quickly. Faced with this situation, a level 1 werewolf had to step forward, otherwise his wolf servant would be killed. Ivan had been waiting for this eager level 1 werewolf. When the werewolf approached, 6 consecutive poisoned shotgun shells were shot directly into the body of the level 1 werewolf. Rudolph shot the werewolf twice in the head at the right time, and the level 1 werewolf died just like that. Whether to change bullets is too critical for such a battle. Normally, when encountering people with guns, werewolves will choose to temporarily dodge or resist a wave of bullets. As long as they rush forward while changing bullets, they can solve it. The werewolves were also a little confused. Why don't these 2 patrolmen need to change bullets? Possessing a powerful magic weapon can indeed quickly improve combat effectiveness. When 3 level 1 werewolves fell, the level 2 werewolves finally couldn't stay in the back and wait. Yvonne threw her shotgun to Rudolph, and she got behind a big tree herself. Rudolph and Cooper waited for the appearance of the level 2 werewolf. The level 2 werewolf is the alpha wolf of the wolf pack. The alpha wolf can not only command the entire werewolf tribe, but also provide protection for the tribe at critical moments. In a short period of time, 4 level 1 werewolves have died, including the level 1 werewolf that had just hunted. If the alpha wolf does not appear again, his status will be affected. There are many alpha wolves, and as long as the werewolves escape quickly, they can join the tribe of another alpha wolf. The level 2 werewolf examined the enemy in front of him. A zombie actually controlled the corpse of a level 2 werewolf. However, the alpha wolf did not care. After all, the corpse was a corpse, and there was still a certain gap from the strength before death. There was also a strange patrolman holding 2 strange guns. However, when the level 2 werewolf saw a touch of white, he could no longer see anything else in his yellow-brown pupils. White wolf. A white wolf slowly walked out from behind a big tree. The pupils of the level 2 werewolf reflected the appearance of the white wolf. But in his mind, he thought of the Wolf King, the Far Mountain Wolf King. When he was in Far Mountain, he was taken to the top of Far Mountain by his leader, a level 3 werewolf. On the top of the mountain was the Far Mountain Wolf King. He was not qualified to listen to the meeting of the Wolf King and the leaders. He only looked up at the Far Mountain Wolf King at the foot of the mountain. The Wolf King squatted on the towering mountain top, with red mane, and even the moonlight could not cover the fiery red luster. Under the influence of the Wolf King, it seemed that the top of the mountain had turned into a fiery red color, as if it was covered with red iron ore. The Far Mountain Wolf King is a mutant red wolf. The Far Mountain Wolf King is also a symbol of power and terror. At this time, this level 2 werewolf encountered another mutant werewolf. The level 2 werewolf purred in his throat. That was the sound of him trembling with excitement and his throat muscles twitching. He also wanted to become a mutant werewolf, a mutant werewolf like the Wolf King in the distant mountains. As long as he bites off the neck of the white wolf, he can gain the ability of the white wolf. The Wolf King howled under the moon, and the blood-red hair was so palpitating. All the werewolves around the entire mountaintop felt the heat in their bodies. It was the call of the Wolf King. After the Wolf King's call, the werewolves came out of the distant mountains, and only the level 3 alpha wolf knew their destination. And he came here according to the request of the alpha wolf. The zombie Cooper was the first to react. He commanded his collection, and the resurrected level 2 werewolves blocked the front. Rudolph felt that Cooper was very responsible at this time. The level 2 werewolf just glanced at the obstacles in front of him and continued to stare at the white wolf. The white wolf also stared at the level 2 werewolf. Her wolf claws also had claw blades of more than 10 centimeters. The claw blades were tightly buckled in the soil, ready to exert force at any time. The level 2 werewolf couldn't help it. He took the lead and rushed towards the resurrected werewolf who was blocking the way. The strongest thing about the level 2 werewolf is his claw blade with tearing ability. Although this claw blade is short, it is very hard. The claws of the two werewolves were facing each other, and a muffled sound came from the air. Even the dead werewolves have very hard claws. Cooper was struggling at this time. The real zombies should use the vast number of apostle corpses and bury the opponent with a sea of corpses. It was too difficult for him to control the corpse of a level 2 werewolf one-on-one against a living level 2 werewolf. His control over the werewolf's body will never be as good as a werewolf who relies more on instinct to exert force. Soon, after 2 attacks, the level 2 werewolf tore the resurrected werewolf's shoulder and almost broke the werewolf's forelimb. Cooper was a little anxious. I just said that I shouldn't have come. It's too risky. Did you say that? Rudolph was still in the mood to observe the attack effect of the wolf claw. If he was swept by this claw, even if Rudolph had a physical strength sharing contract, he would instantly have a large area of bone fracture. I said it. It doesn't matter whether I said it or not. Rudolph didn't like the sight of this level 2 werewolf. In the werewolf's eyes, there was only the white wolf. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 67. Just a dozen seconds later, the level 2 werewolf tore the slow-moving resurrected werewolf to pieces, and then slapped it to the side with one claw. Cooper always felt that he was sweating, but when he wiped his forehead, he found nothing. He forgot that zombies don't sweat. He continued to input zombie power into the resurrected werewolf, and then converted it into werewolf power to recover the horrible wound. The shoulder was torn, the abdomen was torn open, and the hind legs were crushed. A single zombie was not strong enough, and it should still rely more on numbers. However, Cooper's efforts gave the white wolf more opportunities to observe. The level 2 werewolf moved again. He rushed towards Rudolph and Cooper, and seemed to be ready to clean up the annoying minions first, and then fulfill his dream of becoming a mutant werewolf. He couldn't wait. Just as the werewolf rushed forward, Rudolph also moved. The werewolf was very fast, so fast that Rudolph saw a black shadow in front of him just as he was about to pull the trigger. Rudolph's eyes couldn't keep up with the werewolf's speed. His basic physical fitness was better than that of an ordinary person, but it was still far behind that of a werewolf, an apostle with a special physique. Fortunately, the finger moved slightly and pulled the trigger. This action was faster than rushing a distance. Rudolph fired the bullet first. With a shotgun in his left hand and a revolver in his right hand, Rudolph started to pull the trigger frantically at the black shadow in front of him. Hit. Before the werewolf grabbed Rudolph's head, Rudolph first hit the chest of the level 2 werewolf. The werewolf rushed over from the front, and he hit the werewolf. He saw blood spurting out. It was the werewolf's blood, like a bursting water ball. Only a strong heart could support the werewolf's bursting action. Therefore, the blood in the werewolf's blood vessels was also under high pressure. As long as his blood vessels were broken, You could see the spurting blood. Unfortunately, these injuries were not fatal, and the werewolf could recover quickly. At this time, the white wolf just rushed out from the side. Even if Rudolph didn't have time to shoot, the white wolf would block the wolf claws in time. There were too many bullets. In just 2 or 3 seconds, Rudolph had fired 12 poisoned bullets and 6 poisoned shotgun shells. Many of these bullets hit the werewolf, causing the werewolf's movements to stagnate for a moment. The venom of Scorpio not only made the werewolf's wounds swollen and unable to recover in a short time, but also began to attack the werewolf's nervous system. The white wolf rushed forward quickly and bit the werewolf's throat. The level 2 werewolf dodged to the left at the last moment, which made the white wolf only bite the werewolf's shoulder. In the night sky, the werewolf's eyes were filled with fear. Mutated werewolf. This is the mutant werewolf. The werewolf saw the sharp teeth of the white wolf in the mouth of the white wolf. This is not the key point. The more important thing is that there are dense arcs flashing between the teeth of the white wolf. The werewolf even heard the crackling of the arc. The white wolf bit the werewolf, and the electric arc disappeared, completely filling the werewolf's body. The body, which was already somewhat sluggish due to the poisoning, was paralyzed at the moment of the electric shock. At this time, Rudolph took a few steps forward and bypassed the white wolf. The shotgun in his left hand was against the werewolf's chest, and he fired again and again. The revolver in his right hand was only 30 centimeters away from the wolf's head, and he began to shoot at the wolf's head. "Look at my revolver, it looks a bit like a Gatling gun." Cooper was about to remind him that he wanted the body. But then he remembered that Rudolph came to get the relics, and this level 2 werewolf would not be given to him. Even if the level 2 werewolf was killed, it would not be his collection. When he got closer, Rudolph saw deeply that the level 2 werewolf's head was so huge. The upper body of the level 2 werewolf was even stronger, and a wolf head was as big as Rudolph's torso. Those level 1 werewolves who wanted to rush up were stunned. They saw that their alpha wolf could no longer move after being bitten by a white wolf. Then a patrolman took a revolver and fired at least 30 bullets at the alpha wolf's head, until the alpha wolf's head fell limply to one side. The alpha wolf was dead. A level 2 werewolf died just like that. Cooper. Chase. Your collection is going to run away. Cooper realized that there were still 3 or 4 level 1 werewolves over there. He couldn't get the level 2 werewolf, so it was also good to collect some level 1 werewolves. The body of the level 2 werewolf was almost recovered. Cooper hurriedly controlled the body of the level 2 werewolf and his level 1 werewolf and rushed to the level 1 werewolf. As for here, there would be no accidents. The white wolf let go of the werewolf's shoulder, she sniffed left and right, and confirmed that the level 2 werewolf was dead. Rudolph's zombie teeth told him that he could control the werewolf at any time, but what he wanted was the relic. In Rudolph's vision, there were 3 places where the level 2 werewolf was glowing, or it would be more appropriate to say that it reflected starlight. One place was the wolf's saliva in his mouth. What disappointed Rudolph was that the wolf saliva was still level 1 wolf saliva. Except for the wolf saliva, everything else was good stuff. One place was his claw blade, which was more than 10 centimeters long and each of which was nearly 5 centimeters in diameter. Another place was his wolf pupil, the yellow-brown wolf pupil. In other words, the level 2 werewolf left behind 3 relics: level 1 wolf saliva, level 2 wolf pupil, and level 2 wolf claw. Rudolph took out the dagger and carefully took out 2 eyeballs from the werewolf's eye sockets. After the 2 eyeballs were placed in Rudolph's palm, they disappeared instantly. In Rudolph's mind, a meteor streaked across the starry sky and hit a star in Scorpio. On June 14th of Scorpio, Rudolph lit up the 6th star of Scorpio. Zeta 2 of Scorpio, this star lit up. At the same time, 3 suspended stars fell from Zeta 2 of Scorpio. Level 2 werewolf sense of smell, level 2 head wolf aura, level 2 night vision wolf pupil. Level 2 werewolf sense of smell, Rudolph felt it was useless, he didn't need to rely on smell to track and find prey. Level 2 head wolf aura was also useless, Ivan was very obedient, and he didn't need to use these means. When the werewolf rushed over just now, Rudolph almost shot by instinct. His eyes couldn't keep up with the level 2 werewolf at all. Therefore, Rudolph chose the level 2 night vision wolf eye without hesitation. Rudolph opened his eyes and looked at the wolf claw. There is one more thing, it is really double the joy. In this way, if he kills a level 10 apostle, can he draw 10 times in a row? It is so exciting to think about it. Where can I find a level 10 apostle? I don't know where he is hiding. In Rudolph's mind, another meteor streaked across the starry sky and hit a star in Scorpio. Scorpio 7/14, Scorpio mu1, this star lit up. 3 suspended stars fell from the Scorpio mu1 star. Level 2 tearing claw, level 2 werewolf leather armor, level 2 muscle enhancement potion. Rudolph has no shortage of attack methods, so the tearing claw is fine. Werewolf leather armor also enhances defense in general. Almost without hesitation, Rudolph chose the level 2 muscle enhancement potion, or the enhancement of basic physique is more important. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 68. When Cooper returned, there were already 7 new level 1 werewolves behind him. This time, he didn't do anything, didn't contribute much, but added a lot of collections. Cooper didn't even look at the dead level 2 werewolf, but came to Rudolph. He still couldn't forget Rudolph's gun. Cooper stared at Rudolph's gun and asked, "What's the matter with your gun? Is it powerful?" "It's really powerful, but it's weird. Lend it to you for 2 days." Cooper couldn't believe it. "Really? Why would I lie to you? And Ivan's gun, I'll lend it to you for 2 days." Ivan also looked at Rudolph strangely, but she took off the gun and handed it to Rudolph. Rudolph handed both guns to Cooper. "But why? Lend it to you for 2 days, why? I don't believe it." Although he said he didn't believe it, Cooper quickly took the gun, fearing that Rudolph would regret it. It would be a lie to say that he didn't like it. If each of his zombies had a gun like this, wouldn't he be invincible? Of course, there is a small condition. Cooper felt relieved when he heard Rudolph say this. He knew that Rudolph, the patrolman, would not lend him such a good thing for no reason. Rudolph said, "Wait for my owl to notify you. In 2 days, you will take the gun to a certain place. Is it dangerous there? Just asking if you will go." "Go." Cooper couldn't help asking, "Can I shoot and play with it these 2 days?" "Of course, you can play with it. There are still thousands of bullets in it, enough for you to have fun for 2 days." Rudolph and Cooper were very satisfied with this joint hunting. After chatting for a few words, they went their separate ways. Arriving at the top of a mountain, Rudolph found a big rock, then sat on the ground calmly, recovering his star power and energy. Ivan took Rudolph's pet pocket watch and kept watch for Rudolph from a distance. The prelude to August, you are a Leo. Rudolph stared at the star field of Leo in the sky and calmed himself down. He would become a level 2 wizard tonight. On the surface of the big rock, Rudolph drew the astrological triangle with the starstone. He took out the werewolf eyeballs he had just obtained and placed them in the circles on the left and right sides. Then he stood in the center of gravity circle of the astrological triangle and began to communicate with the star power. The lion on the grassland, with fluffy mane, squatted on the boulder on the grassland, as flamboyant and dazzling as the sun, is the most feared existence on the grassland. What Rudolph wants to learn is the Leo witch language, dazzling. From Leo, special star power descended. Rudolph learned the Scorpio witch language during the wizard apprentice stage. At the level 1 wizard stage, he learned the Pisces and Cancer witch languages, which are all water sign witch languages, and are very gentle to Rudolph, who is a Scorpio. However, the Leo witch language is completely different. Leo is a fire sign. As soon as the Leo star power entered Rudolph's body, Rudolph immediately became hot. Sweat soaked his head, flowed down his cheeks, and hung on his chin. The sweat became more and more, dripping from his chin and falling into his collar. After falling into his collar, the sweat began to evaporate quickly because his skin began to turn red. The star power of this fire sign is so hot. These fire star powers urgently need an outlet. The star power passed through Rudolph's body and entered the image triangle under his feet. The star stone powder on the star triangle began to emit a faint red light. The star power was transmitted on the star stone powder and finally poured into the two level 2 wolf pupils. The star stone wrapped the wolf pupil and rolled towards the ring at the top of the star triangle. The wolf pupil stopped at the ring at the top of the star triangle, and the red star stone powder penetrated into the wolf pupil little by little. The main body of the wolf pupil was burned by the star stone powder, slowly becoming smaller, and finally only a pair of corneas similar to contact lenses remained. When the star stone powder completely poured into the cornea, the surrounding star power completely calmed down, and what was left was the level 2 night vision wolf pupil. Rudolph walked to his level 2 magic weapon and picked up the level 2 night vision pupil from the ground. He put the night vision pupil in his eyes like wearing contact lenses. Blinking quickly, after adapting to this feeling, Rudolph looked at the night. In the night, everything became extremely clear. The vision of the level 2 werewolf was already very strong, and with the Leo witch language dazzling, the details of everything were clearer. On the big tree, the swaying leaves were visible, no longer the dark mass before. In the grass in the distance, the veins of each grass can be clearly seen. Even the smaller craters on the moon can be clearly seen. Rudolph controlled an owl and flew quickly past his eyes. In the past, if an owl flew past him, Rudolph could only see a black line. Now, Rudolph has dynamic vision, and his eyes can follow the owl's movements. Clear vision and dynamic vision are both good abilities. Rudolph shouted to Ivan not far away, "Ivan, throw a stone at me. Throw it with all your strength." At this time, Ivan saw Rudolph's eyes. The yellow-brown pupils were slightly lit in the night, so strange. Ivan picked up a stone and threw it hard above Rudolph's shoulder. Ivan's arm strength was very strong, and the stone was very fast. Rudolph could even see the stone spinning in the air, where the edges and corners were, and where the pits were. Although the stone was fast, Rudolph raised his hand and caught the stone steadily beside his ear. Level 2 night vision wolf eyes made Rudolph's strength much better. After a busy period, Rudolph sat down to rest again. Rudolph looked at the level 2 muscle enhancement potion again. Using werewolf blood and level 2 werewolf claw blade powder as the main materials, and then using Leo witch language expansion to make a smear type potion. Lions are the kings standing at the top of the grassland food chain, which makes them fearless, but they also look down on any other predators. This kind of character flaw is expansion. Particularly powerful lions can even sleep peacefully surrounded by hyenas, because they know that as long as they wake up, they can easily bite the hyena queen to death. Rudolph went to get the blood of the level 2 werewolf, and then scraped off a lot of powder on the level 2 werewolf claw blade with great effort, and then began to mix the potion according to the method described in the potion. The mixing process was very slow, and the star power of Leo needed to be slowly integrated into the mixture of blood and powder. After an hour of stirring, Rudolph's arms were almost sore, and he finally got a can of muscle strengthening potion. "Ivan, please help me apply the potion on my back first." Rudolph took off his upper body clothes and let Ivan apply the muscle strengthening potion on his back. Soon, he felt the muscles on his back heating up, and he could even clearly feel that a certain muscle was exerting force and expanding. Although Rudolph did not deliberately exercise, the muscles on his back gradually grew larger and became very strong, at least to the extent of the erector spiny holding a coin. "Okay, Ivan, turn around, I'll do the rest myself." "Ah. Why?" No reason, just listen. Seeing Ivan turn around, Rudolph began to slowly apply the potion to himself. Starting from the neck, slowly apply it downwards. Every time he applied it, he could feel something penetrating into his skin and nourishing his muscles. Arms, chest, abdomen. In order to maintain a pair of buttocks, the gluteus maximus cannot be omitted. Of course, there are also key parts that must be applied several times. The action is a little bit vulgar, but it will be quite useful when used in the future. Rudolph lowered his head and looked at the results with satisfaction. I love wizards, wizards make me full of confidence. In the police station, everyone is jealous of Sheriff Claude, and everyone wants to be Sheriff Claude, but they don't know what the sheriff's secret recipe is. I will communicate with him another day. Finally, Rudolph applied the leg muscles and foot muscles. It is really double happiness. Level 2 Night Vision Eyes, allowing you to capture the enemy's movements. Level 2 Muscle Enhancement Potion, making your movements faster and stronger, allowing you to keep up with the enemy's movements. Rudolph, Level 2 Scorpio Wizard. Mastered Witch Language. Scorpio Witch Language Water Phase Venom, Infection. Pisces Witch Language Water Phase Entanglement. Cancer Witch Language Water Phase Containment. Leo Witch Language Fire Phase Dazzling, Expansion. Witch Weapons. Level 3 Witch Weapon, Zombie Teeth, Side Effect, Body Stiffness, offset by Physical Strength Sharing Contract and Level 2 Muscle Enhancement. Level 2 Night Vision Wolf Eyes. Level 1 Witch Weapon, Spirit Pet Crystal, main material is Level 3 Wizard Crystal. Level 1 Witch Weapon, Endless Revolver. Witchcraft. Level 2 Poisoning. Level 2 Bone Erosion Poison. Status. Level 1 Physical Strength Sharing Contract, shared with Level 2 Werewolf. Level 2 Muscle Enhancement. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 69. As Rudolph became a Level 2 wizard, his poisoning technique also became Level 2, which was more toxic. However, Rudolph remembered a troublesome matter. At that time, he had spent so much effort to load so many poisoned bullets into the two guns. Now that the poisoning technique has reached Level 2, he has to reload it. Just thinking about it makes him tired. However, there is no need for high-intensity combat for the time being. After he gets the Endless Revolver back, he can slowly repoison and clean up the previous shells. Rudolph and Ivan were delayed a little on the road because of the Level 2 werewolf and promotion, so they arrived at the Cuckoo tribe a little late. When they entered the Cuckoo tribe, they found that this tribe was really miserable. Some giant bears, with wounds all over their bodies, fell to the ground and groaned. The hair around their wounds had been shaved off and applied with herbs. This is a bad sign. Normally, the giant bear is the partner of the Level 1 druid, a partner as close as a brother. If the giant bear is seriously injured, it can be easily recovered by giving it a tube of wolf poison potion. But now the giant bear is lying on the ground, and the druid is anxiously waiting. This has proved that the wolf poison potion of the druid tribe has run out. Moreover, there is no new supply. When seeing Rudolph and Ivan walk into the tribe, Alma, whom Rudolph had met before, rushed over immediately. However, her face was full of disappointment, because she did not see Sheriff Claude. Isn't Sheriff Claude here? Oh, Sheriff Claude is busy with the insect plague, and he sent me to take a look first. Just take a look. It's okay to move. Rudolph sympathized with Alma, but he had no choice. Alma also knew about the insect plague, and the farms within the territory of their Cuckoo tribe also had insect plagues. Are the fields of the big farmers in the town more important than those in our remote areas? The two are not comparable, they are equally important. Rudolph could only answer this way. If Brother Wukiel from the Bison tribe hadn't come, our Cuckoo tribe would have been wiped out by the level 2 werewolves. We should really thank Wukiel. It's not that Rudolph has no sympathy, but now that Lehmantown is full of disasters, the police station is really overwhelmed. Wukiel also came to Rudolph at this time. Patrolman Rudolph, I would like to ask you to investigate the werewolf tribe. You can only understand how fast the werewolves are developing now by seeing it with your own eyes. The werewolf tribe has established a mature tribe in the valley. The werewolves have even started giving birth to wolf cubs. Rudolph asked doubtfully, Valley? Which valley? Please rest assured, Patrolman Rudolph, I am a level 2 druid. With me here, we can at least escape smoothly. I mean, which valley? A valley in the northeast. Isn't this a coincidence? Then let's go and see. Rudolph nodded and said, can werewolves also give birth to wolf cubs? Yes. When the number of ordinary people around becomes less and is not enough to make enough wolf servants, werewolves will also mate and give birth to wolf cubs. Then go tomorrow, I'll take a rest and recover my strength. Wukiel only thought that Rudolph was tired on the road, so he agreed to go tomorrow. Rudolph looked around the Cuckoo tribe. The Cuckoo tribe did suffer heavy losses in the werewolf attack, and even the elders of the Cuckoo tribe were injured. The next day, Rudolph, Ivan, Alma, and Utcher went to the extremely dangerous valley together. Alma looked nervous when she left the Cuckoo tribe. Yesterday, the elders told her that the Cuckoo tribe was so miserable that they could no longer maintain their territory. The only way now is to let the Bison tribe take over the territory, which also represents the decline of the Cuckoo tribe. It is very likely that they will soon have to merge with the Bison tribe. The merger is just a nice way of saying it, which is actually a tacit annexation by both parties. In fact, the Cuckoo tribe will be very grateful to the Bison tribe. During the break, Alma couldn't help but emphasize the dangers of werewolves. Patrolman Rudolph, I heard that you are the most experienced patrolman in the police station. You have also fought against werewolves. Level 2 werewolves are so terrible that our giant bears can't stop the claws of level 2 werewolves at all. That's true. The Elder's Vine technique can only trap level 2 werewolves for more than 10 seconds, and the others failed to kill level 2 werewolves during this time. The Elder is still very powerful. More than 10 seconds is not a short time. All along the way, Alma tried her best to make the police station pay more attention to the werewolf tribe in the valley. Rudolph also tried her best to cooperate with Alma. The scenery became more and more familiar, and the road became smoother and smoother. At noon, the four of them arrived at the outskirts of the werewolf tribe in the valley. Wukier pointed to a high mountain and said, let's go up quietly and then use a telescope to look at the valley. Rudolph didn't feel tired at all. The effect of the level 2 muscle enhancement potion was very good. The mountain road was very difficult to walk on. At the beginning, there were trees to hold onto, but later there were only steep rocks, which hurt my feet. They were on the other side of the valley where the mountain was facing the werewolf, so they could avoid being seen by the werewolf. After much difficulty, the four of them climbed to the top of the mountain. Rudolph took out the telescope, lay on the ground, and began to look into the distance seriously. The distance was far, but Rudolph looked very carefully. The level 2 night vision wolf pupil can also provide better vision during the day. However, Ivan said that when using the night vision wolf pupil, the pupil will turn yellow-brown. So Rudolph just tried the effect carefully under the cover of the telescope. If it is not necessary to fight, it is better not to use this magic weapon. Because the distance was too far, the two druids could not see clearly. They could only see from Rudolph's expression that they were nervous or shocked with Rudolph. Rudolph put down the telescope after a long time. How to describe his expression? Very entangled and confused. He handed the telescope to Wukiel and motioned Wukiel to look at it himself. Wukiel picked up the telescope and looked at the valley from behind a big rock. He looked for a while and put down the telescope. How to describe his expression? The same entanglement and confusion. Is there any misunderstanding here? Is the werewolf tribe really in the valley? Alma and Wukiel looked at each other and saw each other's confusion. There were no werewolves in the valley, only empty huts. Rudolph was a little surprised that werewolves could build huts and behave like an orderly human tribe. Let's go. Let's take a closer look. Wukiel still didn't give up and prepared to go directly into the valley. Rudolph didn't object. Anyway, there was no danger. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 70. There was no warning or protection on the periphery of the Werewolf Valley, so Rudolph and his 4 companions easily entered the valley. At this time, clear traces of fighting could still be seen in the valley. The wolf servants had bitten each other before. How could it be so strange? Wukiel was very puzzled. There were wolf servants who had died not long ago on the open ground of the werewolf tribe, and pools of blood flowed from the throats of the wolf servants. Where are the level 2 werewolves? Where are the level 1 werewolves? How come it looks like the wolf pack is in chaos after the death of the leader? Rudolph was studying the werewolf architecture with great interest. It was supported by multiple tree trunks to form 3-sided or 4-sided pyramids. There were traces of wolf claws on the tree trunks, and these tree trunks had been treated with wolf claws. The roofs were covered with thatch, and the thatched houses were in order. The largest residence of the leader wolf in the middle was the main residence, and there were more than a dozen level 1 werewolf houses arranged around it, and some low wooden sheds of wolf servants on the edges. At its peak, this werewolf tribe had more than a dozen level 1 werewolves, but later they were lost in constant fighting. After Rudolph walked around, he came back and said, "I will write everything here truthfully in the report. Although I didn't see the level 2 werewolves, the werewolves began to settle outside the town of Lehman, which is a bad sign." Even so, Wukiel and Alma were still not satisfied. According to the traces, some wolf servants escaped. Wukiel proposed again, "How about we follow the traces to chase them?" Rudolph looked up at the sky and agreed because it was still early. They chased for more than 10 kilometers and didn't see a large group of werewolves. It was obviously a failure. On the way back, it was almost evening. Rudolph looked at an owl from a distance, and the owl flew away quickly. After walking for a while, gunshots suddenly sounded not far away. Rudolph shouted immediately, "Hide! The farm also has guns, but the farm people will not go out at night. The farm will stay in the house carefully at night." Wukiel and Alma both looked at Rudolph and Ivan. "Aren't they from your police station?" "Only people from the police station dare to come out at night." Rudolph frowned. "It's unlikely. I haven't heard that there are other people from the police station performing tasks nearby. Anyway, it's very strange. Let's approach carefully." They moved forward carefully and soon saw a scene that made people's teeth ache. A team of corpses was moving in the forest. They looked pale and were corpses at a glance, and some of them had horrible wounds on their bodies. Some had their stomachs emptied, some had only the cervical vertebrae left on their necks, and some had the unique sutures of zombies on their bodies. Zombies. Wukiel couldn't help but say, "When did the zombies appear nearby?" This team of zombies was actually chasing 2 wolf servants. What was even more surprising was that the 2 corpses in the front were holding guns and shooting at the werewolves. Alma immediately found the problem. "Wait. Why don't those 2 guns need to change bullets?" Just when the 4 people didn't know what was going on, they suddenly heard the wolf howl. Alma turned around and saw a level 1 werewolf howling at the moon on the top of a hill not far away. I knew the werewolves didn't leave. Alma finally got the clue she needed. She needed to prove to the police station how much they needed support. The level 1 werewolf didn't seem to have the idea of catching up, but just observed the battle between the zombies and the wolf servants from a distance. Rudolph looked at Wukiel and let Wukiel make a decision. After a simple assessment of the situation, Wukiel said, "The situation is tense. We split into two groups. Alma and I will go to collect intelligence on the werewolves. Patrolman Rudolph, you and Ivan will keep an eye on the zombies. Be careful and protect yourself first. Wait until we come back." Rudolph nodded, and he knew that the druids were more concerned about the werewolves, because the werewolves were their biggest threat. Wukiel and Alma rushed to the level 1 werewolf, and the level 1 werewolf disappeared from the top of the mountain at the right time. That was Cooper's level 1 werewolf. If anyone got close to him, he would be exposed. Rudolph and Ivan quickly found the zombie. After confirming that Alma and Utcher were far away, Rudolph quickly said, "Okay, Cooper, your 2-day experience card for the Endless magazine has expired. I haven't had enough fun yet." At this time, Cooper was like a child under 15 years old. He couldn't let go of the two guns. "What did I say at the beginning? Did I borrow you for 2 days to play? Yes, I will lend you 2 days to play. The 2 days are up." Cooper was a little unbelievable. Really 2 days? Doesn't 2 days here mean a few days? Look at the watch yourself, 2 days, 48 hours, not an hour less, but not an hour more. Cooper looked at the two guns reluctantly. "Is your 2 days so precise? I thought it meant a few days. My 2 days is so precise. Every extra hour makes me feel heartbroken." Cooper could only hand over the two guns to Rudolph. He couldn't afford to offend his white gloves now. "Okay, leave me a few bodies, run quickly, the druid will be here soon." Cooper took his circus and left here quickly. The bodies that had fallen to the ground stood up again, and under Rudolph's control, they cooperated with Rudolph to perform a fierce battle, and the scene was a mess. Alma and Utcher did not catch up with the level 1 werewolf. They were worried about the situation with the patrol. After chasing for a distance, they turned around and found Rudolph and Ivan. At this time, several corpses were lying at Rudolph's feet. After Utcher looked at the corpses, he asked Rudolph, "Are those really living corpses just now?" Rudolph nodded, "Yes, the living corpses control these corpses, wandering in the forest, hunting." "Why are living corpses using guns? What's going on with those guns that don't need to be replaced?" Ivan had a shotgun and Rodolfo had a revolver. Rudolph held up the revolver with both hands and said, "If I'm not mistaken, this is a witchcraft." "Which weapon?" Utcher and Elma were both very surprised. They had never seen a wizard weapon, and they had only heard of wizards and weapons in rumors. Rudolph explained. "The one just now was a level 1 living corpse. He was chasing the werewolf, and the two sides seemed to be snatching witchcraft weapons. Ivan and I took advantage of the chaos to sneak attack on them. The corpses controlled by the living zombies were not very flexible, so Ivan and I snatched 2 witchcraft weapons. The living corpse and the werewolf ran away with several other witchcraft weapons, and I did not pursue them." "But why would a witchcraft appear?" The frowning Rudolph sighed. "We are here with another mission, which is to investigate the treasure trove of Bloody Salem." Judging from the confused expressions on their faces, they were both ill-informed and knew nothing about what happened in Lehmantown. Rudolph had no choice but to explain. "Last November, the sacrifice for the full moon sacrifice was a level 3 wizard named Bloody Salem. There have been a lot of rumors about Bloody Salem in Lehmantown recently. The most important one is the news about the treasure trove of Bloody Salem." The two druids asked in confusion, "The wizard's treasure house? Where is it?" "I don't know where it is, but I heard it's very far away, very far away." Rudolph lowered his head and looked at the gun in his hand. "This news may be true. Bloody Salem's witchcraft treasure house contains 2 level 3 witchcraft, 5 level 2 witchcraft, and a dozen level 1 witchcraft. In addition to the 2 guns we got, there are probably other witchcraft weapons also appearing in the wilderness. At least I saw a few witchcraft weapons in the hands of living corpses and werewolves. After saying that, Rudolph inserted the endless revolver into the gun case on his waist, and Ivan also carried the endless shotgun, which was extremely natural. But Cooper, who was far away, had not yet realized the dangers of the human heart and the complexity of society, and was still immersed in the loss of the big toy. Rudolph didn't feel any guilt. Anyway, when Cooper was about to die next time, someone would give him medicine.